Okay, we've watched some tournament hoops, taken in a few Clifton Webb movies. You can work up quite an appetite after such a workout. That's why I'm taking you to a dining institution in Hendricks County for a little sustenance from the sea. Behold the true sultans of the sea, as deemed by Hoosier diners who consider catfish a genuine delicacy. So highly thought of, in fact, that diners are willing to take them on with the bones and drive to Pittsboro to get some of the best in the state. At Frank and Mary's Tavern, now just into its second half century, fifth generation and third building, paying tribute to this once maligned whiskered sea beast.
Originally, catfish was a very inexpensive fish, and it was something that was not common in the area for a restaurant to serve.
You know, it's kind of funny, they're a scavenger anyhow. A lot of people laughed about it when we went into the business, that you're just serving old garbage fish.
It was Bob Herring's parents, Frank and Mary Herring, who opened their little tavern in 1945, and with the help of Frank's father, Charlie, eventually serving sandwiches and Mary's codfish fried in the skillet on this tiny stove. In 1951, Frank discovered the joys of catfish, long popular in the South, with just about every farmer with a pond in Dixie running some sort of catfish operation, oblivious to the snobbish disdain of those who associated catfish with the lowly carp as a low-life bottom feeder scarfing up whatever lands on the river's floor. For Frank Herring, only one little river in Florida produced catfish worthy of the Hoosier palate.
The St. Johns River in Florida, around Kissimmee, Florida. And we used to get them all the time. All my life, we'd clean fish from the river.
Most people wouldn't eat it. Said it was a scavenger. They didn't want no part of it.
What turned them around now?
They found out that it was good eating.
Especially after the Herrings enveloped the carefully cleaned and cut catfish in cornmeal breading and then subject them to a 5 to 8 minute baptism in the deep fryer until golden brown. The Herrings have turned to a large Mississippi catfish farm, Delta Pride, for their principal product, feeling the St. John River can no longer meet their needs for volume and flavor consistency.
They have created a science of growing catfish, and since then they give you the most consistent flavor of the pond rays, much better than the river fish.
Good clean grease helps more than anything. We keep our grease real clean.
Yes, Frank and Mary's changes the oil every night in frying up their tender, whiter-than-white catfish, as well as frog legs, oysters, scallops, chicken, and onion rings. But of course, this being the politically and dietarily correct 90s, the Herrings installed a charbroiler for their expanded menu of grilled chicken, pork chops, and steaks to accommodate those instructed by Killjoy nutritionists to stay away from or cut back on deep-fried anything, including the sainted catfish.
Back in the old days, wasn't anything for us to do a ton of catfish a week. Now we're doing about 1,000 pounds, between 1,000 and 1,200 pounds a week.
Yeah, some guy comes in every once in a while and says, I'm going to eat him if they kill me. Give me my catfish.
Which is precisely what practicing Catholics in the area say to Frank and Mary's during that period of saintly self-denial right before Easter.
Our business will almost double during the season of Lent.
Bob Herring and his wife Helen took over Frank and Mary's when Frank retired in 1972. Mary died in 1980, Frank in 1984. Bob retired 2 years ago, turning the restaurant over to his two sons, Larry and Tom, and nephew, Jeff. Together, they've expanded the restaurant to seat 300, so nobody anymore has to line up out on the street on a Friday and Saturday night. Larry has also turned the eatery into a museum paying tribute to Pittsboro's second most famous citizen, NASCAR Prince Jeff Gordon. Larry has worked at Frank and Mary since he was 4, and through the years felt a subtle pressure from the Pittsboro community, if not his family, to keep Frank and Mary's a dining institution.
I'm 44, and this is the only job I've ever had, so I guess that's I must enjoy it. When things are going good, it's fun.
Larry and his wife Donna say they're not putting any pressure on the fifth generation of Herrings to continue the Frank and Mary legacy. This in the form of their son Alex, a senior at Tri-West, who embraces the privilege.
It's not really pressure. It's something I really want to do. It's just keeping it going in the sake of tradition. And it's very possible in my lifetime to see it make its 100th anniversary.
Reachable goal indeed, especially when riding on the fins of this Sultan of the Sea. Well, I hope you got enough to eat and enough exercise, both physical and mental, on this edition of the Reid Duffy Chronicles. Thanks so much for joining us, and look forward to seeing you next time. Good night.